and welcome to the RacingBet preview for Saturday, the 14th of November. I'm your host, Tim Geers, joined by Trent Crebbin. Trent, the Melbourne Spring Carnival is officially over, at least Cup Week at Flemington. We move into now a bit of racing at Sandown, and then we're off to Ballarat and Pakenham in Victoria, while the attention mainly transitions over to my neck of the woods over here in WA for our Perth Carnival, the Tab Touch Masters. We've got 3 Group 1s coming up in the next few weeks, those being the Railway Stakes, Winterbottom Stakes and the Kingston Town Classic. A quick sum up of the carnival for you.
Yeah, it was great. I thought the all over the 3 carnivals, Caulfield, Moonee Valley, Flemington, it was all filled with a stack of great racing. We found a few winners, and it was really good to kind of finish a stressful week. But on to Sandown, and we've got 10 races, all stakes races at Sandown, and as you said, moving over to Ascot as well should be great for the racing to continue.
Yeah, so we've got a huge weekend ahead at racingbet.com.au. We'll be covering Canterbury and Moonee Valley tonight, that being Friday night racing in Sydney and Melbourne. And then on Saturday, we're covering Melbourne, Sydney and Perth. So we're going to be covering the Zipping Classic meeting at Sandown, the Hunter meeting at Newcastle. Josh Reed will be covering that. And I'll be moving over to the WA form and covering Champion Fillies Stakes Day at Ascot as we move into the carnival in the next few weeks. We'll get straight into things. Trent, we're going to kick off with your best bets at Sandown on Saturday. Your best comes up in race number 5. Another one of your boyfriends, horse number 1, Buffalo River, currently around $3.10.
Yeah, I just thought it does look a kind of a racing 2 on paper there. We've got the favourite, Kenya, coming off a 5-length win at Mornington. I just thought that race was had a lot of holes in it. You know, he was a dominant winner, went straight to the front and put a big space on his rivals, but the rivals behind him were really BM64 horses at best, some of them. Buffalo River here comes off the Cantala run where he set a very fast tempo out in front. Craig Williams, realistically, he just went too fast out in front, dropped off to finish 15th of 16, only beaten 5 lengths, so it wasn't like he completely dropped out. His run before that in the Turek handicap, when he led at another fast pace, but a bit more of a manageable pace there, was very good when running second to Mr. Quickie. Jumps up in the weights here, but I thought if he goes at a manageable speed with Jamie Carr on board from barrier 2, I still think he's got the toughness and the kind of that high cruising speed to really get the others out of their comfort zone. And if he hasn't kind of rated down and comes off a bit of a tough run in that Cantala, I think he's clearly the horse to beat here. And I would have to have him much shorter than the $3.10, and happy to have a good bet on him.
Okay, we'll move on to your best value bet of the day. It comes up in the race immediately prior to that, race number 4 on the card. You think the $26 about horse number 8, Tony Nicconi, is over the odds?
Yeah, I thought Tony Nicconi was a bit of value here. I thought his run first up at the Valley was good. He had 62 kilos on that occasion with over a 9.55 trip behind Sartorial Splendor there, kind of sat on the rail just behind the leader, and maybe fitness just gave out a little bit late with the big weight there. Steps up to the 1,000 metres here, that's no problem. The big tick is he drops down to 56 kilos. He basically crossed the line with another horse in this race, Human Nature, who he now meets 5.5 kilos better. Probably has a bit of added fitness over that horse now as well. And importantly, he's $26 here. So I thought he was definitely worth an each way plays around $6 the place as well, which I think is a good kind of 1x2 bet you could definitely have in the race.
Okay, and just we'll quickly touch on the day's feature race, which is the Group 2 Zipping Classic, race number 8 on the card. Looking through the field, it's a pretty uninspiring edition of the Zipping Classic. Do you have any firm opinion? The only one that kind of stood off the page to me that would have any interest in having anything on would be horse number 6, Lord Belvedere, around $6.50. You could probably play that each way, but for me, no real firm opinion. Have you got any other, a little bit more clarity on this race?
Yeah, look, not really. I found it quite tough. You agree. It's a bit uninspiring, this edition of the Zipping Classic. Look, a lot of the winners out of this race, we were talking about it before, have come out of the Melbourne Cup. We saw Southern France last year finish down the track and was an impressive winner. And, Avilius kind of fits that same mould. He clearly just doesn't stay the 2 miles in the Melbourne Cup. If you go off his run in the Caulfield Cup, he'd easily be the horse to beat here. And there's also his run prior in the Hill Stakes behind Colding, beating home Fierce Impact there was very good as well. 2,400 metres is a big tick. Damien Oliver replaces John Allen. He's probably the one I'd clearly find on top. I wouldn't be, declaring him or anything, but if he's kind of come out of that Melbourne Cup run okay and gets back to his form prior, he's clearly the one to beat.
Cool. We'll move over to WA for WA Champion Fillies Stakes Day at Ascot on Saturday. My best bet comes up in one of the day's features. It is the listed Ascot Gold Cup. It's race number 6 on the card. And Trent, a horse you'll be familiar with, is my best bet of the day. Horse number 2, Too Close to the Sun. It's currently $2.70. This horse did his racing in Victoria last preparation. You might remember he won, bolted in a race at Moonee Valley and then went on to win the Terrain Cup and the Warrnambool Cup. He then ran the Andrew Ramsden Stakes, finished down the track and was moved back over here to WA. His first up run behind Inspirational Girl was enormous. He was a $26 chance. He sat in the box seat and he only went down, by about a head or a neck or so. Inspirational Girl is one of the leading contenders for the Railway Stakes. William Pike booked to ride her in, I think, next weekend's Group 1. So that looks a very strong form line. And the key with this horse today, well, there's a couple. Been second up from a spell. He's won 2 of his 3 starts when second up. He steps up to 1,800 metres, which is, of course, right up his alley. He's won all the way up to around 2,400 metres. And I think the biggest key is going to be the conditions over here, because there's a lot of rain predicted here in Perth, both on Friday and Saturday. So I suspect this track's going to be racing somewhere in the soft or heavy range. This horse absolutely loves the wet. He's 3 from 3 on soft ground. So wouldn't be too worried about barrier 13. He'll slide across to sit up on the speed. He may even lead the race. And from there, with all those things in his favour, I think he's going to be quite clearly the horse to beat. $2.70 looks a decent bet to me. The one a little bit of value in that race, I think, is horse number 9, Mystery Miss. Adam Durant, Chris Parnham jumps on third up from a spell. It's been ridden by apprentice Lacta Ramoli in its first 2 starts back from a spell, but third up today, Chris Parnham jumps on, good drawing barrier 3. She'll handle the soft ground, and she's won 2 of her 3 starts previously when third up from a spell. So around $15 for her, I thought was a touch over the odds, but pretty keen on Too Close to the Sun. We'll move on to my best value bet of the day. It's in the day's feature, the Group 2 WA Champions Fillies Stakes. It's race number 7 on the card. And I just thought there's probably 2 horses I'm going to be backing here, and they're the same 2 horses I backed last start in the Burgess Queen Stakes on Melbourne Cup Day. Those being Solaia and Snickerdoodle Dandy. Snickerdoodle Dandy is the favourite for this race and looks very, very hard to beat once again. Drawn well in barrier 3, Chris Parnham booked to ride. She's currently around $2.60. But I thought the $9 or so about Solaia, horse number 8, was over the odds. She was really, really well backed in that Burgess Queen Stakes. I think she was something like late betting was around $7 into $4.50 at one point. The money just kept coming for her. She ran 4th on that occasion. She settled 3rd in the box seat on the rail. She kind of just had to sit and sprint in that race, whereas all the winners kind of came down the outside of the track. So I'm not sure the inside part of the track was necessarily the best part to be. She just kind of peaked on her run the last 100 metres. I mean, look, she's got to turn around a 3-length margin to Snickerdoodle Dandy. But from barrier 6, she should be allowed to kind of wind up and really get into the race rather than having to stop, start and sit and sprint like she did last start. So I just thought at those odds, given how heavily back she was last start, I thought the $9 here was worth taking as well. Any other thoughts from you? Too Close to the Sun, a horse you're a fan of?
Yeah, big fan of him. I think I backed him in the Terrain and the Warrnambool Cups. I agree. I didn't realise it was going to be so wet in WA, and yeah, he loves the wet. He put himself. I think he'll probably lead this field as well. And I agree. I think he does look the best of the day off my very limited WA form.
And it does look a really competitive card overall. 9 races on the card, a lot of good races, a lot of good horses, a lot of big fields and wide open betting markets, but pretty keen to get involved, pretty keen to get back to the WA form ahead of the carnival moving forward into the next couple of weeks. I think we'll put up a piece on RacingBet.com just looking at those interstate horses who have come across them to the carnival. There's only a few of them, but particularly keen on trekking in the Winterbottom Stakes. William Pike booked to ride. That race typically is for horses with elite sprinting form from the eastern states, and there's not much over. I mean, there's some good horses over here, but nothing in his kind of class. So I think the best price I saw for him available was $2.50 during the week, and I think that's probably a good bet, which I don't often say this far out from a Group 1 race. Anything that's caught your eye for the Group 1s coming up, or are you just kind of waiting to see what happens?
Yeah, probably just waiting. So many horses that kind of couldn't get over. I agree. Trekking looks very hard to beat now that Hay Dog isn't going over, who knocked him off last year. Yeah, he'd be the only one I have a real handle on.
Beautiful. That's us done for this week, guys. You'll find all of our previews for Canterbury and Moonee Valley tonight, as well as Sandown, Newcastle and Ascot tomorrow on RacingBet.com.au. And then, of course, Hong Kong on Sunday. Plenty happening, plenty to get involved with on the site. So jump on over, check us out, and good luck this weekend finding a few winners.